Hi, welcome. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg, and I'm here today to help you with Real Estate 101. I wanted to talk to you guys about basically about real estate and rentals, rentals versus buying. So if you're in a rental situation and you're thinking about buying, this might help you out, like kind of like the pros and cons of rental versus buying. So basically there's up right now, it says rent versus buy. And it's going to talk to you about basically, or it's going to mention about how long you want to stay in your rental house, in your rental situation. So if you're having or if you have a job and it's right now with COVID, you're not sure if you're going to stay in the area, you might have to relocate. Well, then obviously it's better to rent at this time. If you're thinking about buying and you like the area, it's more of a 2-year type of process. In other words, the reason to stay for 2 years is in a home that you're purchasing is because you get a tax break. So if you make a profit, it's best to stay in that home for 2 years. So basically on the rental situation, I would always suggest if you're going to stay, if you're not going to, you have flexibility that way. You're in a rental home, you're not sure if you're actually going to stay in the area. You're not sure if COVID's making you relocate, if you're going to have to get a different job. You're kind of wishy-washy about the area. You're not sure exactly, even if you like the area. These are reasons to stay. I'm a realtor, obviously I want to sell you a house, but these are reasons to stay in a rental situation. Another reason would be what about your credit history? Are you trying to resolve your credit history, make your credit history better so that you can get like a better interest rates? I mean, interest rates are awesome right now. 3% is like the average, depending on, I've seen low as 2.2 and 3.5. But so if you figure 3% interest rate, maybe by the end of the year, I think they projected like 3.4, 3.5. So they are going to be starting to go up little by little. But as far as rental houses, you have a rental house, you have a landlord taking care of your roof, your AC, is your lawn maintenance, are you mowing the lawn? I mean, if you're in a condo or a townhouse and you're renting, you know that the lawn maintenance is included too. So when you're purchasing a home, you have those things to worry about. You have to worry about the roof. How old is the roof? How old is the AC? Just different things like that. And another thing too is, when you're purchasing and you've been in the home for 2 years or more, like it's saying here, you're getting equity in your home. Obviously, when you're renting, it feels as if you're just throwing that money away, but then you have less responsibility. So you kind of have the pros and cons of actually what you want to do there. So I'm renting, I might have to move, but so I can just pack up everything after my lease is up. Con, I'm throwing that money away. I could be purchasing a home. I could be starting that equity in that home, like a little savings and stuff like that in that home. Another reason to stay into your rental house would be, like I was saying, the roof, the AC, stuff like that. Maintenance-wise, as a renter, you have to change that filter still. But as an owner, roof, the average roof price is between $8,000 to $15,000, depending on the square footage of your home and stuff. So those are things that if you're purchasing a home, you want to know how much roof life is left on that home. When you have a home inspection, they do a roof certification, and that kind of gives you an idea. So if you need to save up for a roof or an AC. But again, if you're renting, you're not worrying about that. Another thing is when you're renting is if you have a dog, like we just had some dogs in last week, that wouldn't be the ideal dogs for rental situations. And that's why a lot of people with like SPCA, they're getting actual dogs that people are surrendering because they can't take them to actual, to the rental situations, or they're paying the pet deposit, plus they're paying like $75 extra a month to have their dogs that they love, which are part of their family. And this would be ideal if you're going to purchase, because you can have, unless there's a HOA restriction in the area, you can have whatever dog you would like. So again, pros and cons. You have a dog you want to bring with you, and you purchase a home, you can bring your dog with you. You're renting a home, maybe not. You're renting a condo, there's deed and breed restrictions, weight restrictions. So you have the pros and cons there. What about you have a home and you want to paint, your kid is going through a stage and they want to paint the whole room black. If you're in a rental home, obviously you know that you're not going to be able to paint the room, which is probably a good thing, but you're not going to be able to paint that room black. You're not going to be able to do the extreme things that your kid wants to do with the polka dots on the wall, the borders, or, if they're into green, neon pink, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to do that if you're actually in a rental situation. Or if they see it and you do it, you might get in trouble, or you might have to repaint the whole room when you're about to, to leave, or they'll take it out of your security deposit. So these are like pros and cons. So if you own your own home, you can paint the room obviously whatever color you like. There's no one that you have to talk to. You can do things, you want to put different decorations up, you can do that. There's no restrictions. You want to change the inside of your house, you want to take down the main wall and open it up, drywall. There's no one to ask. You're the actual person that you would, you're the homeowner. There's no restrictions for you. If you're renting, obviously you're not going to be able to change the interior of the home. You rented this home, and a lot of times when you're renting, obviously you're not interested in that, but a lot of times as a homeowner, it's great to have that freedom where you can paint it whatever color you want. You can have your dog there. You can put up a fence. You can do all the things and all this freedom because this is your piece of property. This is your piece of land. So you have that pride and ownership. Whereas when you're renting a home, obviously it's your home for that year, but you don't have that attachment to it where you can make that home and mend it to exactly how you like it, exactly how you want that home. So those are like the pros and cons again of doing it, of actually renting versus buying. Another thing is your tax, you're going to have tax actual help with the government. It's going to give you tax help as far as when you pay your homeowners, you're going to pay your homeowners taxes, and you're going to pay, that's actual taxes. The property appraiser is going to send you a tax bill. Those are going to be deducted as far as on your taxes for the end of the year, and your mortgage insurance. Those two numbers, if you're paying rent, obviously those are not an expense that you're going to be able to deduct. If you own a home, these are areas that your accountant will tell you how you can deduct those mortgage insurance premiums and also your taxes. So these are, like, again, pros of owning a home. And then of course rental, you're just paying that money away, and obviously you have your home, it's paying for, but you're also, a lot of people say, throwing money away or paying someone else's payment, which is a lot of times I hear renters will be disgruntled just because they're like, well, I'm paying his mortgage payment. Well, you could buy from me a home and then you could pay your own mortgage payment. So, but anyway, so these are the pros and cons. So you're in a rental house, you can't have your dog, you can't have the paint colors. But again, you can relocate at any time, and it's a great way to test an area. So a lot of people come to the areas from, right now we have a lot of influx from New York, New Jersey, these different states that are moving to Florida. And the reason there's a high flow in, and that's why there's so many new builds. But a lot of times they want to see an area first to make sure, is Tampa, is Town and Country the area that I would like to live in, or not. So basically, you can rent a home in Town and Country and see if that's the area. You can rent a home in Trinity and see if that's the area. Tarpon Springs, just different areas, and try them out. Try out the school systems. Those are ways to test the system. But if you're going to take a chance and go by, you might have a friend who lives in one area and they tell you this area is the best area, I want to buy a home. Of course, if you're purchasing a home, the only way then to switch would be to sell that home. So those are different ways. Renting, some positive things about renting would be, you're checking the area. You have flexibility to move. You're not constricted to one area. If you want to get up and move to California, you can. Of course, the cost is going to be a lot higher than Florida, but you have that flexibility, and you're only locked in for 1 year at a time. But again, you're not getting the tax discounts. You're not getting for your actual tax returns, and you're not building that equity. So those are different things as far as with the homestead exemptions and stuff like that you get when you're actually purchasing a home. You get the different things that are helping you to make that home affordable, but then the rent is just going to be one actual payment. I have a chart that's rent versus buying, and you'll kind of see, especially right now with the interest rate so low, you kind of see them going back and forth against each other, and you can see at the average being 3% interest, how low your payments are going to be. This is rent versus buy calculator. Now you can go on realtor.com and mess around with this. You can see, depending on what price point you think you'll be at, and of course you can call me and I can get you pre-approved, and you can see the housing price you put in there, and then it's going to tell you, buying versus renting. And that's based on 4 years, but it's kind of a cool calculator. If you click too much on it, I think Lending Tree will come up, so be careful. Not that Lending Tree is bad, but just because it's on the side there, which I cut out, but it'll ask you to fill out the whole application. You don't need to fill that out. But at realtor.com, you can go on there and just fill in your information. Go to an area that you think you like. This one says Oklahoma on it, just as a location. But say you wanted Town and Country, Florida, or Hillsborough County, Florida, or Tampa, Florida, or you wanted Trinity, Florida. You go to the average median price in that area. So put in your, 360, 400, and then put in your desired rent amount and see the rent amount that you're paying, and see if they overlap, and see what your payments will be. And you will be surprised how it can save you money at some points actually purchasing instead of just paying, just throwing the rent away. Of course, when you're purchasing, you're paying your homeowner's insurance to make sure, God forbid anything happens to your house, you still have a home there. So like if there was a fire or something like that. On a renter's, if there was a fire, you would have to have your renter's insurance, but it's only going to be your contents, obviously, and that would be an extra thing too. But with your home, when you're actually purchasing, that insurance is going to be included in that payment, and the taxes are going to be included in that payment. So on the rental calculator, that isn't included in there, but you can kind of get an idea and add on a couple $100 extra, for your calculation to see renting versus buying. But that's a great tool. Again, that was realtor.com that had that tool on there, and it'll show you, the motivate you either way. If you're on the fence, should I rent? It's only $1,300, or should I buy? It's the same amount, or it's $1,400, but I'm actually purchasing a home. Now, when you purchase a home, obviously you're going to have, if it's a home, you'll have your lawn maintenance. If you're a person that likes to rent because you don't like lawn maintenance, then maybe you should look at condos. You should look at homes. There are some areas where the HOA covers the whole area, and they mow all at one time. And there's the garbage is included, stuff like that. So there are other areas, if you like the non-maintenance free living, and that's why you pick to rent, that we can actually put you in, more of a HOA controlled area, which will help you to have all this stuff done. You don't have to worry about that. And the exterior of the houses are painted. The roof is painted. They have different things that with the HOA where they escrow, they call it. And that's where they actually take the money and they save it up, and they replace all the roofs at one time. They replace all the, like the paving and stuff like that. And they do it with the HOA. And that's in a condominium type atmosphere. And that's very close to like renting, because you're only paying for like your interior stuff, like your paint, your appliances, stuff like that. Everything else on the exterior is going to be the HOA, and you're going to pay a fee for that when you're purchasing it. But it's more like a rental home, so it's kind of it appears and it appeals to people that are in a rental situation and don't want to do anything. Because I have a lot of like younger people who will purchase a home, and I'll show them homes with more of I would say roof life, more AC life, then that's not a concern as far as I'm going to purchase this home and then I'm going to have to dump 10 grand into it. I don't have 10 grand to dump into it, and that's why I'm renting. Well, you don't have to necessarily have the 10 grand to dump into it if you buy a home. I mean, it's good to have an emergency fund, but if you buy a home that has these things and they're not that old, like the roof's only, like I said, 10 years old, AC is only 10 years old or 5 years old, and most of the stuff in the home, the appliances, stuff like that, are a little newer, then you're not going to have that worrisome where you're going to have to come out of pocket as much, and that's a lot of times people with renting versus buying, that's what they worry about. But a lot of times too, if you're renting and you're saving up money, and if you're smart, you're saving up that money for the down payment, you're fixing your credit, and you're saving up a little extra money too if there is anything that could go wrong with the house, like an emergency fund. So when you move in, God forbid something happened, one of your appliances broke, your refrigerator broke, you could actually afford to go get a refrigerator instead of panicking that you have no credit left and everything. But most of the time too, Lowe's and Home Depot, you can open a credit card and get a refrigerator, worst case scenario. But it's best to think about these things ahead of time and save up that money for your down payment of your home, for your emergency fund, and then transition into purchasing a home and, getting that dream home that you like. And two, a lot of people that I deal with, I tell them, it's nice to have the dream home. I watch HGTV too, and it's nice to have that dream home where you're looking at it and you're like, this is everything I ever wanted. When you're 25 years old, though, I feel like we all suffered, and it's great to want to move into that dream home, but then you have to start from somewhere. So the first home might be your mini dream home, the second home might be your medium dream home, third home might be the ideal dream home that you thought of. And then when you get older, you think, well, maybe when your kids move out and stuff, you think, well, let's downsize back to the medium dream home again. So you don't have to pick the home for life. I know it's a 30-year mortgage when you purchase a home, but you don't have to have that home be the ideal home forever. It doesn't, can be where you live for 5 years, take the equity out, and then purchase a new home. And that's the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about too. We're going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back, but I want to talk to you guys about rental homes. Rental homes are a great idea too. So right now we're talking about renting versus buying, and the pros and cons of them. And basically, checking the schools, checking the areas, saving for your down payment. And then if you make a time to an actual timeline to set this date, like in other words, it's 2021 right now, and it's January. I'm going to put so much money aside, and then in this timeline, I'll have this much money. Just taking that budget and putting that money aside to purchase that home is, of course, the most ideal thing to do. If you have family, I always talk about the rich aunt. If you do have a rich aunt and she wants to gift you some funds, we can get you into that home, your home purchase sooner, and make that happen for you even sooner. There is gift funds, and you are allowed to get gifts from family members, because a lot of times people say, well, I don't know if my parents are allowed to give me money to purchase a home, and they are allowed to give you money. So if you're in that rental situation and you want to get out, and you have someone, a rich aunt, or your, dad and mom, or we just have to account for those funds when they come into the mortgage. In other words, they can't just give you cash. They can't just hand you 10 grand, and then we wonder where it came from. So now next we're going to talk about rental houses. So I'm going to talk to you guys about whether you would like to actually purchase a rental house, ways to go about it. So I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back in a couple of minutes, or actually a couple seconds for you guys, and we're going to talk about rental houses, and I'm going to help you from there. Stay. So now we're going to talk about rental purchases. Should I buy a rental home? To purchase or not to purchase? To flip or not to flip? That is the question. So you have a home right now. Let's just say, I love the Smiths. So let's just say Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they have a home right now, and they're to go local. They live in Clearwater, and their house is, a median household income. It's priced around $300,000, and they're going to go ahead and take all the equity out of their house, and they're going to put it on another home. So the equity they have in their house is let's just say a number of 20,000. I might be talking Chinese to you guys right now, but so Mr. and Mrs. Smith are trying to decide whether to keep the house that they own and purchase a new one, and to rent that home out, or to sell that home and to put the money on the new one. Now, the reasons to keep the house would be you already have this house. It's really hard to get houses. They're doing good. They could rent this house out. So most of the time, if the house is worth $300,000, just as a ballpark, you're going to probably, in the area, depending on the area, between $2,500 to around $3,000, depending if it has a pool and stuff. So let's just say $3,000 is the rental income they're going to get off of it. So as soon as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who have owned the house for over 2 years, takes the homestead exemption and switches it to this new home purchase, this is going to make the $20,000 equity in their home now taxable. So a lot of people will sell that primary residence because if you've lived there for more than 2 years, all that income, the profit that you made between, I only owe $260, but I'm going to sell it for $300. All that profit there is all tax-free. So that's why people will sell that home, to get that tax-free profit. If you have friends that move every 2 years, this is why. Like if they get equity, they're like, we're out, we're going to move to the next one. This is all tax-free. We're out. So I've moved myself 13 times. So I understand that. I've done that. I've been there where I don't want to pay the government. So I'll go find a fixer-upper, move in the house, live there 2 to 4 years, usually 2, and then move out. And then you take all that tax. It's all tax-free. But a lot of people, because there's a shortage, they want that rental house, and now they love this house, and they want to keep this house in the family. If you love your primary residence a lot, I would not suggest renting it out. Only because no one is ever going to love your house as much as you love your house. And that's my advice to you on that. If you think your house is okay and you can't wait to get in this new house and your house is all right and you always are like, it's a good house, it's okay, then maybe you could rent a house out. A landlord is a person who can take kind of almost a non-biased opinion, a non-biased look at your renters. And, when they smash a door or they open a door hard and it knocks through your drywall, or they do some damage to your house, you have to go in there and not feel emotionally attached to this home. And that's very hard when you've lived there or raised a family in a home. So that's why I suggest if you love a home, do not rent it out. But if you think this house is okay and you want to rent it out, what I would suggest then is, so Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you own this house, you're going to buy a new house, you need to have a lease for this home. Basically, you need to have the lease ready to go and your tenants ready to go to show your mortgage person that, because otherwise it's just going to be a double mortgage payment. It's going to show us. So you need to kind of offset your incoming with your outgoing. So you have your lease, you have your actual tenants in place. So that makes sense. You will be taxed when you do sell it, the profit between what you purchased it for, what it's worth, because you took the homestead exemption off of it, but you have your rental property all lined up. And so that's the only way as far as keeping that property. But you need to talk to your mortgage lender about how to do that too. Again, it's like cash funds from your aunt that is rich and is giving you money, your dad and your mom giving you money. It's the same thing when you're leasing out that property. You need to talk to your mortgage lender exactly on the paperwork wise what you need. If you have that lease and the person ready to go into that home, you need to have that ready to go for her or him, and then they'll explain to you exactly how to do that. So the other thing I was going to talk to you guys about was, so that was to flip or not to flip as far as, your own house. But what about flipping actual, you hear of all these investors, I want to flip a house. All these people, they bought this house and they made this much money. I want to flip. So what's that all about? What's flipping all about? Well, I'm going to give you like the quick, because we don't have a lot of time, but I'll go into it more. But basically, so you buy a house, and the house, they're very hard to get now for flipping. So there's loads of investors that call me. I probably get one a day. Do you have anything? Do you have anything? So if you have anything, it's a bidding war. You finally get one. Let's just say as a number, you bid on this house. It's $100,000, and now you're gonna hope to get, let's just say $200,000. That's a really good flip. But it needs a roof, it needs AC, it needs all interior, exterior, it needs kitchen. Okay, so by the time that you're done with this home, you have basically, you've bought it for $100,000, put the roof in, you put the AC in, all this stuff. So now you're up to like let's just say 160. And you have that $40,000 profit now that you think you're going to make between selling it for $199 and what you have into it for $144. Oh, I thought this was off. Sorry, guys. But anyway, you have that profit so that's $40,000 profit that you have. That $40,000 is also taxable. So what does that mean? It depends on what tax bracket you're in, actually. But if you're in a tax bracket where you pay 10% a year, that $40,000, you'll pay $4,000. So your profit's down to $34,000. So if that makes any sense whatsoever. But so in other words, you're buying that flipper, you're putting all this money into it. All those are expenses you can write off all against your flip. And then that profit between what you sell it for and what you have into it, even though, when they do the 1099, it's going to show the total profit on the tax return. The total, it's going to show, the whole $199 on there, and they'll send it in. And then you have to kind of explain that to your accountant. Here's all my receipts, and I did all this stuff, and I fixed it all up. So that's basically flipping. Well, it's really hard to find flips these days. And if you have another job and you're on the borderline of, say, which tax bracket you're in, you have to be real careful, because if you're making a lot of money, it could push you into a 20% tax bracket. So your $40,000 profit now is $32,000. So 40 times 20% is like $32,000. But it kind of, your accountant can help you with that. You can actually ask them and tell them like what you intend to do, and is that a good idea for you as far as getting that extra income in. I mean, any income is always good, but a lot of people don't know about the once you don't have homestead on it, you have to pay taxes on that profit. So now it comes down to flipping or not to flip. A lot of people will get investors, and a lot of my customers will ask me too, what's a mini flip? A mini flip is when you get 3 to 4 investors, and they all put in all their money, and they'll make between 3, sometimes they'll make 10, but they'll make less. Three. Some of them will do it for $3,000. Some of them will do it for $10,000. But of course, the goal is to make as much as you can, and you'll make more money too if you're handy and you're doing this work yourself. If you're having to pay someone to do everything that you have to fix up in the house, all the painting, all that stuff. If you have to pay someone, then your profit's going to go down and down and down. And so, I could probably do a whole show on just flipping and how to flip and what areas to flip and how to, figure that out. But if you need help with, as far as, we do get them, call me and I can, again, help you with finding an investment property to flip. Sometimes it's better to go higher and go with the partner when it comes to flipping, if there's a lot of profit to be made. But again, could go on another show on that one. So a lot of people ask me about rental properties. Like, I want to buy a rental property. Again, about the tenants, you hear the nightmare stories. And I can't say that I haven't entertained some people on Facebook with my own nightmare stories. I've had them, knock out windows. I've had them just do some stuff that's a little crazy as far as rentals go. And it's not necessarily because, people will say it's the area, and it's not necessarily the area. Right now, there's a lot of, not to be negative, but there are a lot of squatter situations, which sounds funny, but if you go to the county and you have to evict, or not, they don't call it eviction, but if you have to remove squatters, it's a totally different thing out there right now, because people, and it's not funny, but because it's happened to me, I find humor in it because it's how I deal with things. But yeah, so, but anyway, to avoid problems like that, if you do decide to rent out a property, find a property, you find a property, and if you have a good realtor, and I would like to help you, you can find out how much the rental income is going to be, and if it's worth, how much, basically how much is worth putting the money into, and on your return. So what's going to be nice is that this rental is going to be paying your mortgage payment. Now, what's not going to be nice is the time that you have where the house is empty. That time where you have it, where the house is empty, you need to allocate funds to make sure that you have money to pay that mortgage, pay the insurance, pay the taxes. Now, and also the insurance that you have doesn't want to see a rental property empty. So a lot of times they'll try to cancel you if they see a home empty. So if you have a rental home, you're going to make sure it's full, and then make sure that you have someone moving in right away. And if you have to put work into it, you're going to get that work done as fast as possible to ensure that someone's in there, because they're going to worry about someone breaking in, vandalism, stuff like that. And that's why the insurance companies will cancel you and stuff. So if you get that rental open, you got it all ready to go. I suggest, you put nice stuff in, but I don't suggest that you put stuff that you were going to put in your own home. Like if you're going to put a countertop in and it's a, granite countertop, I don't suggest that you go buy the best granite countertop. A lot of times people don't take care of the homes. I mean, some do. I would say 20% of people take care of it just like they would their own, but it's people that they don't care as much because it's not theirs. And that's where the problem comes in with renting, out. You have put all your, guts and glory into this home, and then someone damages it, and it's disheartening. Again, like I was saying, if you had a primary residence and you rented that out, it would be disheartening. It's the same thing when you put blood, sweat, and tears into a rental home and someone damages it. So you want to make sure that you do a background check if you do have, if you do rent it out. I use tenant check. David Yesser with tenant check, and he it's about $40 to $60, depending if it's a single or a married couple, and that's worth every cent. Nowadays the tenants actually will pay for the tenant check to show that they don't have criminal history, that they don't have real bad credit from evictions, that they don't that they have employment, and then you can check employment verifications too. And these, tenants, as far as when you're renting, you don't have to have perfect credit. I know some places will say they have to have a certain number score, but the main thing is to show, no evictions, and to protect you if you're a landlord on this, conversation. You want to make sure that you have someone who most likely is going to take really good care of your house. With COVID, things change where people, have to move and stuff like that, and they're in your property. They may break the lease now. You might have different things. Then you might have squatter situations, and that's when I had one move out. They moved out, and then the girlfriend smashed all the back windows in and decided to move back in, even though there was no electric or water on in the home. And that obviously for me was a problem because the house was empty, and then I came in there and there was a lady living in the back room. So that's a squatter situation, and that doesn't happen real often, but it does happen now more than it used to. So those are like things as far as being a landlord. You have to kind of, I guess, be geared to that, to be able to be a, people person, as far as being able to tell them, hey, welcome, I want you to enjoy this home, but then also to be stern enough to be able to go collect the rents. And then also if you are handy and you can fix things, this is going to save you a lot of money because, again, when you own rental properties, you're going to have to be sending people out for little teeny bits. A window doesn't work, a screen is broken, just different things. The toilet's clogged, the AC is not working. There might be a leak. These are things that you, again, want to have a little extra money saved, unless you're making a big profit on your mortgage payment versus your outgoing payment on the home. And then you can afford monthly when they pay to send them out for repairs if there are repairs and stuff. But things that you need to be aware of, because I think a lot of people think, well, oh, they have rental homes, that's great, if you see someone who has rental homes, but you don't realize the upkeep, keeping after the tenants to make sure that they're mowing the yards, to make sure they're not getting HOA fines, make sure the houses look good, make sure the paint is good, the roofs are good, nothing's leaking. Those are things that, it's like another full part-time job. So, those are things that you have to kind of be open for as far as rental, be aware and be, ready, I guess, to accept that if you have a rental house, you might at any time, 2:00 in the morning, get a call, someone flooded something, or there's some nightmare thing going on. But I mean, you might get lucky and it might be 100% perfect. But I like to tell everybody, and again, on rental property, if you're versing this rental income and you versus a CD or a stock market, rental income is a lot higher as far as those. You can do, but 6% is the average. You can do versus paperwork wise as far as what's paying more. My CD in the bank, and I know that rental property is going to pay more, and that's what I was saying. 6% is the average on the first year, and as far as the risk and stuff, you have a material item. If you go on the stock market and you take your $100,000, you have a piece of paper, or you have it on your chart, on your phone that shows your stock market, where this is your actual, you can touch brick and mortar. You know what I mean? It's a safe return as far as, I spent $100,000 on this thing. I know that I can sell this for $100,000. So it's a safer investment. For me personally, I like to look at the real estate, as a safer investment than I would like the stock market. CDs are secured; they just don't pay anything right now. You're not going to get a return like you would on a rental, as you would, on the rental is going to be higher than a CD. So these are things, kind of compare. If you have money in the stock market, money in CDs, and you're like, I want to make a little bit more money, maybe that rental house is the way for you to go. You just have to be able to say, well, there's going to be good incoming and there might be some bad outgoing just for maintenance wise. Of course, stock market and CDs, you're not going to have to worry about that. You're just going to put your money up and maybe someone's going to do it for you and there's no stress involved. But as far as me personally, stock market, watching $100,000 go up and down is going to be more stressful than driving by a residence that I own, that I'm like, okay, there it is. I can go out and touch that wall, whereas in these are going to go up and down and stuff. So, so you have the risk, and and so it's good and bad, and tenants can be bad, and stock market can be bad, but also tenants can be great. Some of the nicest people I've met have been houses I've property management for tenants and stuff. So you got to take the good with the bad, I guess. But I've enjoyed talking to you guys. If you have any questions, I'd love to help. Helping buying and selling, and we got the SPCA coming up in about for you guys just a couple seconds. And today we have Barry. Barry's going to come visit us from the SPCA, Suncoast SPCA. Welcome back in just a minute. Thank you. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg. Welcome back. We're here with Diane Oberlander from the Suncoast SPCA, and we have a special guest star today. His name's Barry. Barry's 4 years old, and he's here to talk to us and to bark at us about adoption. Right, Barry? He's like right on the camera. He's staring at the... Barry, you see the camera? He's staring at himself on the... He's wagging his tail now. So tell us about Barry and his story.
Barry came from Pasco Animal Services. He was a bait dog, so you can see all the scars around his face and see that. He obviously doesn't like dogs because of his history, but he is the cutest wiggle butt ever. Like, he has the best personality despite not liking dogs. He would be okay with kids who are like, 12 and up just because of his size. He might knock him over, so we like to have a dog that's a little bit older. But yeah, I mean, otherwise he's an active dog, so he would totally need an active family that's going to keep him, exercised and busy. Yeah. But he does. He loves love, and
he's just it'd be better not to have. He'd be your only dog, your only pet.
Only pet. He's all you need.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah, he's a great dog.
He
Yeah.
is. He's a really
He's ready for
love
adoption.
muffin.
So tell us about the adoption fees. I know we go over it.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us how
We
much
can
it
be
is per bear.
flexible sometimes, especially with a dog
You
like
fix your
Barry. If they've been with us longer, we're always willing to drop the price a little bit to
Okay.
help them get into a home. But typically, it's $250 for dogs, $200 for senior dogs. And then we have cats that are $125, or kittens are $125, cats are $100. There is a senior person discount. There's also a veteran discount. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
double.
Yeah, we were saying that the double senior discount,
Right.
the double veteran discount. Yeah, so that's great. So Barry's a great dog, and they have other ones. And I know that we were talking last year. It's like last week, but last
Right.
year about volunteering and about
Yes. We're going to get on that probably next week. Try and get some people in for that, because we really need people to be spending time out with them in the yards, playing with them,
and
exercising
fostering them too, right?
And foster, yeah, we have several dogs that we would love to get in foster at the shelter. We have one that has some issues and she needs to put on some weight.
Oh,
She's
okay.
a wonderful dog. Her name is Sprite, but she needs to get some weight on, and we just feel like she would be great to do that in a home.
Right.
She's good with
One-on-one.
everybody.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
Sprite is good with everybody, dogs, cats, so she would be an easy one. But yeah, we do have several dogs, so we would love to get some foster applications in so we can consider putting some of those dogs in a home.
Right, and it's great with it's not great to have COVID, but it's great with everyone home so much. If you're fostering, like we were saying before,
Yes.
it's a great time. So if you have extra time to take a dog in and give them some TLC, and you're not ready to make the commitment, but you're ready to
Right.
help out, that's great. And then also volunteering, you can go online and actually volunteer your time with the
Yeah.
SPCA. And the Suncoast SPCA is located on Congress Street in Port Richey.
Right.
So it's close if you're in Pasco County. There's other SPCAs, but this one's one of our favorite ones because they come in and visit us and show us all the puppies.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So now we were talking about the dog foods that you guys always need. I always like to plug that just because
Yep.
of all the needs that you guys have at the shelter.
Purina Pro plan is the one we like to give our dogs. We do cat chow for our cats, and the wet food that goes along with it as well. But yeah, yesterday I made ground beef and chicken for Sprite
Oh, nice.
to help her, so we'll do that sometimes for the dogs too. And actually at Christmas, one of our board members made chicken soup, and all the dogs got chicken soup
Oh, that's
on
nice.
New Year's Eve. Yeah.
So you guys get treats. You
Yeah,
probably
they
don't
do.
want to get adopted when you're used to all that hometown cooking. You're like, never
Right?
mind. I want to. That's why.
I know, you really do want to get adopted. I
He's
know,
like, what is
Barry.
she talking about? Yeah.
We know Barry.
So also we were talking about just different people, if they need to, if they can't take a dog, they're downsizing, they want to take a dog, they want to, surrender their dogs. Dogs have to be up to date on shots, and you guys are taking appointments
Yeah.
on that too.
Wednesdays are surrender day between 9:30 and 11:30. They can go online and make an appointment to surrender their animal. Yes, all shots have to be dated, spayed, neutered,
neutered.
chipped.
Right.
Chipped we could probably get away with if that was the only thing they didn't have done. I know, he's
I think
fascinated.
he's staring at himself.
He's fascinated by
He's
it.
like, there I am. Look at that good-looking dog.
Well, yeah, who's that good-looking guy? I love
Look at
his
that
eye.
good-looking dog. Yeah, he's just straight on
That's
staring
so
at himself.
cute.
Yeah, he's not camera shy at all.
Not at all.
So if
I
you like
love
doing
it.
selfies, this is the perfect selfie dog. He's like, you're so funny.
He's like, oh, shit.
Yes, you're just a beautiful boy. Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, so I know I saw actually on Facebook Marketplace and just different places of people that are, they're moving from homes and they're going to apartments and they can't take their dogs and they're relocating because of
my
COVID
gosh.
and different situations.
A lot.
Yeah, so there was one, I actually reached out to her and suggested her to call you guys, and she said she already had an appointment and she was trying to
Oh, good.
adopt them, two of them together. But I think she
Oh.
was coming in this week to see you
Okay,
guys too.
perfect.
Yeah.
Probably
So-
Wednesday then.
Yeah, so hopefully she'll find a
Yeah.
good place for him. Because, I mean, you guys do the background checks. It's kind of like your credit background check, but you're checking to make sure they're a good fit. Like you were saying, he's a great dog, but you don't want to have like little babies around him because
Right.
he's a strong dog. It's not
Yes.
that he's aggressive, it's just that he's strong.
Right.
And then you don't want to have other actual dogs around him either because
Exactly,
he's
which
not
could-
good with other dogs.
Right.
Because of being a bait dog is what they think he was. So he's
Right.
not, if he sees another dog, he's not happy.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a strong boy. So yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely want to find
Yeah.
the perfect home for him.
Yeah, he's a
So you
good
don't have
alarm
any
system.
issues.
So, like, I mean, if you
Oh,
saw
for sure.
someone broke in your house and seen him, they're going to run out the other direction.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to pay ADT
As
for
long
this
as
guy.
he
You know?
doesn't wiggle first.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
a dead giveaway with him.
Yeah.
This whole thing he's got going on.
Yeah, he looks fierce, but he's very, very sweet. Exactly. Yeah, so it's a great time to adopt and a great time to foster. I know you guys said you had needed, thank you. You had needed like blankets and stuff like, no,
No, we couldn't take
not
them
blankets.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, so what is it? What else do you need? I know you did the dog food.
Dog food, cat food.
Was it rags or what was you were saying last time?
No, so we can't take any linens.
Because of the-
because
oh,
of
okay, COVID, okay.
They changed that rule. We could take new blankets, and I hate to say it because, beggars
Yeah.
really can't be choosers, but if they were new in the packaging, we can take them. Same
Right.
with dog beds and stuff like that. I know,
Right.
that's probably not a big option for us, but that is the only way we could actually take those
Right.
items.
What about soaps or anything like that? Or
Yeah, we use, I don't know if it's not Dove, the blue one. I forget what it's called now.
Oh, okay.
The one that they clean ducks off
Yeah,
with.
that's exactly what I Dawn soap.
Yes,
That's
yes,
exactly
yes.
what I use to wash my dogs at home.
Yes.
I my dog who looks very similar to this one but in white and is from the SPCA Suncoast too. He had a skin problem constantly. I took him to the vet and then long story short, I ended up with the Dawn dish soap just because I ran out of his special soap that I was paying $30,
lot for.
$40. Yeah, and I had the prescription. So I was like, oh, I got to wash him. And I saw the ducks on the commercial. So I was like, this has
You're
got
like,
to be
it's
good.
okay for them.
Yeah. So I used it on him and it came up white and he doesn't have hardly any, it's almost all gone, the whole thing. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
plugging Dawn now. Yeah.
Oh, good,
Suncoast
yeah.
and
I feel like I got stuck now.
Suncoast and Dawn. That's what I'm plugging on this. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, it actually cleared up all his stuff and everything. And then my little one
really
too. Yeah, I have a Shorkie, which I know these dogs don't, like his breed and stuff isn't real good with other dogs, but he does have one dog he likes, it's like we call it, it's his dog. He tolerates his pet, But we use the Dawn dish soap on him. But his temperament's very similar to this one.
Yeah.
Mr. Barry.
Yeah, super active, yeah.
Yeah.
But he is a love bug when he wants to be, so
Yeah,
he
I
just
think
needs
you
to
could
be
probably go jogging and
exercised
stuff.
enough.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, like a running or walking with him and stuff.
Because I think that's the situation with most dogs. If they
Yeah.
behave badly, it's probably because we didn't exercise them enough, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to, for them, we need to be sure we're doing those things too.
Right. Right. So when you volunteer, what do you actually need in a volunteer? Like when we were talking about, of course, giving lots of love.
You know what? If we could use anything, people who are willing to volunteer, wash dishes, hang out with dogs, play with cats, clean
Yeah.
litter boxes. You know what I mean? Anything.
And is there an age limit on that? Like
16.
16. Okay. So if you're 16, after 16 you can go and
Yes.
volunteer.
By
Oh, okay,
yourself,
that's
yes.
good to know.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of teenagers, they get. if they're
Well,
not
I think in
working-
school too, yeah. Especially when they're in high school, I think they have to do volunteer hours a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. okay.
So that's always good to go to a shelter
Yeah.
if you love animals to do those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We
and you
like
get to
that.
learn about animals and
Right.
stuff too.
Right.
But yeah, he's a beautiful. You can see all his markings up there close. He's a
Look at
beautiful
that
dog.
Beautiful
Yeah.
stripe on his head.
So that's awesome. So you can go online to find out all about the volunteering and about the fostering, and basically what needs you guys. I know that you update that constantly, and then what's available. I think you had about 20 last time.
Yeah,
is that
we're
right?
down. We're down to about 12 dogs now. We got.
That's good.
We got a surrender yesterday. That's going to be. I think that's going to go quick though. She's a purebred. Blue Heeler.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah, very sweet, smart
Yeah.
dog.
Oh, that's nice.
She came in yesterday. I haven't gotten pictures of her yet or anything or
Aw.
posted, but I will be doing that soon.
Good
But
stuff.
yeah, if we have our dogs, there's probably only 10 or 12 right now.
Oh, okay. That's good if they're being adopted fast. So that's,
Yeah, we
that's
just are down
nice.
to the tougher ones, I
Yeah.
think, right now that
Right.
just need a
Have more
more specific,
personality.
yeah, and they
more
need more
personality than
specific care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think, I'm surprised he hasn't been adopted out only because he has a look of a lot of, especially guys like dogs that, you know what I mean? That
Right,
look
yes.
a little tougher,
Right.
but are really sweet and stuff. Although girls, I have one just like him, like I said, in white,
Right.
I have the white.
I mean, it's look at his pink collar. It
Yeah,
shows he's like,
I know.
he's cool
His
with
little
himself.
tie, his looking groovy.
And his little red tie.
I know.
We have to dress him up when he comes for his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. So if you do, have to, if you're in the COVID situation, you do have to surrender your dog. We were saying you have to be up to date on shots and stuff like that.
Yes.
Do you have to bring the shot records
Yes.
with you and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the rabies, copy of the rabies certificate. They have to show that they're negative for heartworm within the last 6 months to a year.
Yeah, and that's to protect all your other dogs. and stuff
Exactly.
in there,
So
right.
yeah, there's nothing going on with the population we already have.
Right.
Yes.
And then the kittens, I know you guys had a load of kittens last time. How many?
We're good. Like
good?
they're actually the females are in getting vetted today, but we put them in foster to adopt. So
Oh, nice.
pretty much majority of them are
Oh,
being
God,
adopted
wow.
by their fosters.
Wow. See, so I think a lot of people have a misconception about that. They think of them just sitting in cages, you know what I mean, for months and at a time. And they're being turned over. You're
Oh,
actually
yeah, for sure.
holding them fast. That's
Yes.
awesome. So I mean, because I know a lot of people feel guilty about giving their animals up, and then.
But you know what? They're really good about getting them outside in the yards all the time. The only thing we're really missing now is, because of COVID, not being able to have people come out and really spend that extra time with them,
Yeah.
exercising them and stuff.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they really get to enjoy the outside and the yards and, see other dogs. He's not the biggest fan of seeing them, but
He sees himself.
he likes himself, though. Yeah, he's pretty mesmerized by himself. That seems like Barry, though.
It's the name.
He's good looking.
Yeah, he's like, look how cute I am. Look at me. Look at me.
Look
Look
at
at
that
me.
stripe on my head. That's awesome.
He's like, wait a minute. He's looking at me.
Is that
That's
me?
you. That's you. He's so funny. Yeah. So if you want to come in and see him, what would be your suggestion if you want to come in and see Barry? Do you?
Barry or any of them? What, Barry? You can go online and make an appointment. Thursday, Fridays, Saturdays are appointments for, to see dogs and cats.
Okay.
And Saturdays, we usually leave the gate open from 12 to 4. So we have appointments, but if you're driving by, come on in.
Okay, so 12 to 4 is like the open time to come
Yes.
in and take a look. Okay,
Yeah,
got
on
you.
Saturday, yes.
Got you. Yeah, so that's good to know. So like it says on here, he's 4. He does know how to sit and stuff. Like he does sit
Yes.
and lay down. Once you get to know him, he will listen to you. But he's pretty excited.
Yeah,
right now.
yes, when he first got, he was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So now I know you're doing very good, Barry. He's like, tell me I'm doing good, because I am.
Yeah, because our last one was an escape artist. She got like, you're sitting down. Yeah. Bindi. Was it Bindi?
Yeah, guess what?
Did she get adopted?
She's in a foster to adopt.
Aw,
Yes,
that's
so
nice.
we're
She's
super
so
excited. Oh
cute.
my goodness, she's
She
a
is
package
cute.
of love.
Yeah. Barry Manilow.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the Manilow part.
He sings the songs that make the whole world.
Yeah, awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, so you can come see him on Saturday and just walk in,
so
or you
great.
can make an appointment to see him, or you can bring him home and try him out, as a,
Right.
which is
Do
great.
a
That's
foster with him,
Yeah,
if you're
not
unsure.
sure. Yeah, if you're not sure if he would work for you, but you love him. He's really lovable, though. He wants to hug and
yeah,
stuff.
hug and
He doesn't
kiss.
realize how big he is, like you
No.
said, and that's why you're
Yeah, he thinks he's
saying
a
about,
Chihuahua.
Yeah, that's what you're saying about the 12-year-old, 12-year-old and up for kids.
Oh, yeah, exactly, so he doesn't
Just
knock him
because,
over.
yeah, just so he doesn't
For
fall him
safety,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
He wouldn't mean to hurt them, but.
Yeah. He's
The
like,
other,
oh.
there's something else I just wanted to mention for people. Don't judge the dogs in the kennels. We have a lot of dogs that just don't do well with the barrier, having
Yeah.
a barrier between them. And it's intimidating for people to be,
It's tight.
at their thing, looking down at them.
Right.
So I know a lot of people will make a comment, well, that one didn't like me. You know what? he might actually like them.
Yeah.
He just didn't like seeing them through the barrier.
Right, exactly.
So people should be like, hey, you know, if they like the look of the dog, but the dog didn't maybe react to them like they would, see him outside.
Yeah, exactly.
In
yeah.
a different environment, because you will see a different
Yeah,
dog.
how would you be
Exactly.
in jail if people came up, you know, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I know, again, I have the same dog breed, and when the UPS guy is terrified of him because when he comes to the door, he's at the door and he's scratching at the door. And if I open the door, the UPS guy looks like he's going to have a heart attack. But my dog wants to, you know, he's wagging his tail and he wants to say hello to him. Then it's just the whole barrier, you know.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Is your name Barrier now? He's
Barrier
like, Barry. He's like, did you say Barrier?
Look at him.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. He's really sweet.
Oh my goodness, he is.
Yeah,
He
he's
loves
like
you.
trying to. Yeah, my husband would kill me if I bring one more.
Your dog would too. He's
Yeah,
like,
I
I already
know.
have my dog.
Yeah.
I don't need another
We
one.
have two dominant dogs.
Yeah.
We have to have one at one part of the house and one at the other part of the house. This is your half.
Right.
Put the
Don't cross it.
Doggy gates up. Yeah, he's a great dog. So on Saturdays, 12 to 4. So that's good to know. So as far as if you're looking for a specific breed, do you guys take like reservations? Like you were saying, this blue heeler came in. I mean, do you have people that are like on waiting lists for certain dogs, or do you just come in and you just see what you
Yeah,
have
no,
at
we
that time?
don't do waiting lists. Just it's really first come, first serve.
Right.
Waiting lists don't always work out so well. Maybe someone doesn't show up on time, and then someone else comes to see the dog, so that never works out well. My suggestion is, if you're super interested in a dog, make your appointment and make the first one you can get.
Right. Okay.
To see that dog.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, and if you lost your dog, you can call Animal Control, Pasco, Hillsborough, Hernando,
Correct.
just because you don't know where your dog might end up and stuff. And then they pull from a lot of
Right.
lot of those things. So,
Right.
or a lot of those actual
facilities,
agencies.
yes.
Yeah, so that's good to know. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And hopefully Barry will get adopted out, and I know he will. I don't say
Right. Hopefully every week we
100%.
come, the last dog will be adopted out.
Yeah, that's what we want for
That's the
2021.
goal.
That's what we need.
So let's do it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. My name is Jessie Walters, and thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week for Real Estate 101 and hopefully answer and help you with any questions that you have. Or you can always call me direct if you're listing or selling or buying, and I'll be glad to help you. My contact information will be up on the screen. And thanks. Have a blessed day.